In April 2013, a 66-year-old retired nurse from Brentwood, Tennessee, laced up her boots and set out to do something few people ever attempt: hike the entire Appalachian Trail. Her name was Geraldine Largay. Her friends called her Jerry. On the trail, she went by the name Inchworm. Jerry was a retired Air Force nurse who loved long-distance hiking near her home. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment idea. She'd trained for it, planned for months, and set off determined to walk all 2,190 miles from Georgia to Maine. She didn't do it entirely alone. For part of the journey, she hiked with a friend, Jane Lee, before continuing solo, and her husband, George, followed along by car, meeting her at road crossings to resupply her with food and clean clothes. By late July, Jerry had made it deep into Maine, one of the most remote and rugged stretches of the entire trail. She was last seen by fellow hikers on July 22, 2013, at the Poplar Ridge Shelter. The next day, everything went wrong. On the morning of July 22nd, Jerry hiked a rugged section of trail south of Stratton, Maine, crossed a stream, walked over an old railroad bed, then stepped off the trail to relieve herself. She never found her way back. George waited for her at their planned meeting point on Route 27. She never showed. He wasn't alarmed right away. Hikers run late. But as hours turned to a full day, his worry became a phone call, and that phone call became one of the largest search operations in Maine history. Search teams focused on a 14-mile stretch of trail, narrowing in on a 9-mile section between Lone Mountain and a dirt road west of Sugarloaf Mountain. The original search area covered more than 80 square miles. Ground crews, dog teams, and aircraft combed the wilderness for days, then weeks. Nothing. What no one knew, what no one would know for over 2 years, was that Jerry was still alive and closer than anyone imagined. Investigative documents later revealed she survived at least 26 days after getting lost. She hiked to higher ground trying to get a cell phone signal, sending text messages to her husband that never went through, and she kept a journal, recording her thoughts, her fear, and eventually her acceptance. In one entry, torn from her notebook and left where she hoped it would someday be found, she wrote a message for whoever found her, asking them to call her husband and her daughter so her family would finally know what happened to her, no matter how many years from now. The journal revealed she ultimately died from exposure and lack of food and water. For over 2 years, the case remained an open wound for her family and the searchers who never stopped thinking about her. Then, in October 2015, a forester surveying land nearby stumbled upon her collapsed tent and belongings, nearly 3 miles from where she'd first stepped off the trail. She had been just off the beaten path the entire time, hidden by dense Maine wilderness that swallowed every trace of her. Jerry Largay's story became a sobering lesson for hikers everywhere. Always carry a map, a compass, and enough supplies to survive an emergency, because even a short step off the trail can become impossible to undo. She set out to walk the whole Appalachian Trail. In the end, 20 feet off the path was as far as she needed to go to disappear completely.